Red Bull Indianapolis Grand Prix of 2015. Valentino Rossi was leading the championship standings by 13 points and was yet to finish off the podium. Defending world champion Marc Marquez was trailing the Doctor by a sizable margin of 65 points and had faced some of the most testing races so far in his career in the first half of the season.
Down but by no means defeated, and he made it extremely clear coming into the first race back that he was very much still up for the title chase. Marc Marquez joins us for After the Flag, following taking the win last weekend in Indianapolis. Marc, we've got so much to talk about, but first let's start with last weekend, because on the build-up to the Grand Prix, a lot of the talk was kind of pitching you for this dogfight with Jorge Lorenzo, which is pretty much what the race amounted to. Did you deliberately wait until the closing stages of the race to make your move?
Honestly, before the race, my plan was another one, because during the practice, maybe I had 1/10, half-10 faster than him on the rhythm, but on the race I saw already that he was really fast. He improved from the practice, and then I say, okay, if I want to win the race, I need to wait until the end. And then, yeah, it was some laps I was in the limit, honestly, behind him. It was difficult to follow him, but then I say, okay, I will attack in the last laps, because if not, I will not have chance. So, my plan was attack when remain 2 laps. I attack when remain 3. And yeah, it looks like it was the perfect plan.
It absolutely was. The start of this season has been a stark contrast to 2014. There were times when, as a viewer, we were going, oh my gosh, how much more can he take? What was the hardest moment or incident for you?
Yeah, of course, one of the hardest moments was Montmeló, because during the season, on the pre-season, I was really fast, really happy with the bike, but in Malaysia. Then when we go out from Malaysia, we arrive in Qatar already, I start to have some doubts. Then we arrive Austin, we won. In Argentina also I had some doubts, but I was fighting for the victory. And then when we arrive in Europe was where I say, okay, we must to change something. Then we start working with Honda, we start trying to fix the problem. And in Montmeló was the last race where I say, okay, now it's time. We come back to 2014 chassis with 2014 exhaust and more things. And yeah, in the end, looks like since the test on Monday in Montmeló, since us and race, then was everything coming much better.
Is that how you tackled it then, kind of trying to take the logical approach? Because your confidence must have taken an absolute battering.
Yeah, now you know, I feel like a different rider on the bike, because everything comes easier. I'm able to keep a rhythm, because with the other bike I was able to be fast in one lap, but I was not comfortable on the bike, and then that was the reason of the crashes and everything. But now looks like I'm able to, maybe in one lap the speed is the same, but for being consistent on the race, then it's much better there.
They say that it's in the hardest times where you learn the most. What do you think you've learnt from the first half of this season?
What I learned is many things, because the people already I have a lot of pressure, of course, but and this I like it, because that means that the people expect a lot from me. But we cannot forget that I'm 22 and it's my 3rd year in the MotoGP, and I didn't have that experience. Now after these 6 races, I saw that I learned many things, and now looks like I come back. Looks like I come back a little bit better than I was before, and that is experience for the future, for try to understand well and not repeat the same mistake. It's true that before the relationship was different, but because we were not fighting for the championship. It's not the relationship like a friend, but always with Valentino, I think we are enough professionals, especially him. He's really professional, and we can't forget what happened on the track, and then outside the track we speak, and yeah, the relationship, you know. Always I say that Valentino is my hero, and I would like to keep the relationship always, because I think it's important.
On to more brighter things. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. So I actually caught you walking around in Indianapolis, just in the city, and it was really strange for me because I'm so used to seeing you in the paddock getting absolutely mobbed by everybody, and you were actually just having a little walk. You'd obviously been for a shop, you were carrying your shopping bags, but you were totally unbothered by people. I guess those moments are very far and few between now for you, especially like in comparison to back home and when you're in here in Europe.
Yeah. In Spain, it's impossible now to go shopping or to do something like that. Especially Spain, Italy, French, little bit. But in Europe, it's more difficult. But in these three countries, then when you go out, for example, in USA, like so me, I was shopping and everything, and it's normal. But you know, was my dream when I was a child to be a professional rider, to be like the TV guys, because I saw it from the sofa of my home, and yeah, sometimes it's difficult to be a normal guy, but also you like this support from your fans.
For sure, it's like a payoff.
Yeah,
but a good payoff. So I've got a few fans' questions for you from Twitter. So the first one is from at KCW93, and they've asked you, when do you normally go to bed before a race, and when do you normally get up on a race day?
Normally I go to bed early because after a day, after training, I finish tired. Normally I go 11 maximum. 11.
That's still quite late.
No, in Spain.
I'm in bed by 11.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But in Spain it's early.
Yeah, definitely.
In Spain, normally you take a dinner on 10 or 9:30.
I'm learning that this year.
You are learning. But in Spain it's early. But I go, 10:30, 11, more or less, sometimes later, but more or less this time.
And what about when you wake up? Early for race day?
When I wake up 8 is the wake alarm, but normally from the bed 8:30 because half an hour there. It's fine.
The second question comes from Avril Laya, and they've asked, who gets the most attention at home from mum and dad, you or Alex?
I think, from mom, I had more attention, and then for Alex it's different, it's a dad. But but with both, everybody have a good relationship at home, so it's fine.
For sure. And then the final question comes from Forever93 times 3, and they've asked you, what's your favourite quote or saying?
Quote, always I have on mind, no pain, no gain. That means that if you want something, you must to suffer for that. So no pain, no gain, it's a good quote.
I'll take that one with me. Thanks so much, Marc.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Think back to Jerez after the flag, where we took you on a bit of a tour of the paddock to show you exactly what it consisted of. But of course, we didn't really show you who it consists of. Now, I think a lot of you guys are quite interested in how do people end up in MotoGP? What kind of jobs do they actually do? Now, there are, of course, a lot of fantastic characters here, but we don't have time to introduce every single one of them to you, which is why we picked a little selection, a few different job titles and a few different nationalities to show you the faces of the MotoGP paddock.
My name is Hervé Poncharal. I am 58 years old. I live in Bormes-les-Mimosas, south of France. And I'm team manager and team owner of Monster Yamaha Tech3 team.
My name is Mirko Lazzari. I am 54 years old, from Imola, Italy, and my job is photographer.
My name is Mike Webb, I'm 58 years old, I'm from New Zealand and I'm the MotoGP race director.
Hi, my name's John Eyre, I'm a mechanic for Danny Pedrosa. I'm 35 years old and I'm from Burton-upon-Stather, near Scunthorpe in the United Kingdom.
Hi, I'm Hatsumi, I'm a Japanese. I'm from Tokyo, I'm living in Tokyo Central City. And my job role is I'm working for Suzuki MotoGP as a marketing operations and relations. They're asking me about age, but in Japan we never tell the age, so I won't tell it.
I remember leaving school on a Friday and starting work on Monday at a motorcycle shop in Scunthorpe called Brian Lee Motorcycles. And basically the deal was that I could work the weekends in racing in British Championship as well as working at the bike shop through the week.
As soon as I finished school, I packed my suitcase, I took my bike, which was a Kawasaki 400 at that time, triple two-stroke, and I went to London and I worked as a waiter in a restaurant for 2 years. And as well as that, on the side of that, I was going to school every day to learn English.
I work until 23 years old. I work in a shop and selling perfumes.
Well, my first job when I was going to university, trying to pay the bills, was in a motorcycle shop. And it happened to be run by a guy, Ginger Malloy, who'd just come back from Europe having raced in the World Championship. So I absorbed a bit of racing culture at that stage.
Well, my first job after school was secretly at the small trading company, but as I kept sitting all the time in the office, it was kind of boring, so I quit pretty in short time.
My big luck, if I can say so, is I've been riding at a national level in France, and at that time I was riding for a team that was sponsored by Honda France. And at one stage the director of racing offered me a job to be his assistant. And I started to work as his assistant, and after a few years we created a Grand Prix department. The first rider with Dominique Saron, Rothmans Honda, and this is how I started. I did it for 5 years as a Honda France employee, and then I decided I wanted to fly with my own wings, as we say in French. And I created my company Tech 3 in 1989, and since then we're still alive.
Photography was my passion, my hobby before, but from 1995 I worked for a lot of years in a big magazine. After 15 years I worked for Grazianeri, a big agency in Italy, and started MotoGP 15 years ago.
Well, after working in a motorcycle shop for a while, I eventually started my own shops. I had motorcycle shops and started racing motorcycles in New Zealand. And after 10 years of racing, I got an invitation to come to Europe and work in a 500 GP team. So I came to work for 10 years in GP teams with the Yamaha factory team. And when I finished my job as crew chief there after 10 years, I was invited to be the technical director for MotoGP. I was technical director for 10 years and was invited to take over as race director. And so I'm now currently MotoGP race director.
In coincidence, I had a chance to work with the MotoGP team because I've been managing some Japanese riders. At that time, most of the Japanese riders have been doing very good, so I had a chance to manage them. And since then, I'm still in here.
I started in 2001 working for Leon Aslam in the Shell Advance Honda team. And in 2005, I managed to work for Biaggi in the factory team, and I've been at the factory team ever since.
Oh, I don't know. First of all, the relation with the rider, with all the people of this world. Second is motorsport. I love motorsport. I born in Imola, and you have a big circuit, and for us, motorsport is our life.
It is changing, and of course, we are all competing. You know, on track the riders are competing, but also the team manager are competing between each other. Best hospitality, best garage, best riders, best looking bikes. So this is what is driving me at the moment. You know.
Well, the best thing about the job is that I'm a race fan. I really like doing this. I'm an ex-racer, so I know what's going on. And the same with all my colleagues in race direction. We're really fans. So travelling the world, we enjoy that. And going to races more or less all the time, we actually really enjoy the sport. There are difficult things to do and some really nice things to do. But overall, we love motorcycle racing, so that's the good part about the job.
I think it's the rush of working under pressure when you need to really be on your game, and anything can happen in racing. Every day is different. Some things happen, some things don't. It's just one of them things.
Well, I really enjoy my job. I like my job very much because I can meet many people around the world, which never probably happens to me if I'm not involved in this job. And Our job is a bit far away from the technical side, but we are still sharing the same aim and same dream together with the team. It's a big teamwork, and I like it very much. And that's
From the faces of the MotoGP paddock, let's move on to the faces covered up by helmets out on track. Now, we're just about to go meet the person to talk about the race here in Brno. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the highlights from all three classes.
So it's a very good morning to you from Brno, in pole position for just the second time in his career, the 19-year-old Italian, Nico Antonelli. So here we go, 19 laps, round 11. The Moto3 World Championship in this legendary venue. We're at Brno.
Good start from the middle of the front row by Danny Kent. Excellent start from pole by Nicolo Antonelli, but it looks like it's Jorge Navarro, the Spaniard on the number 9 Honda, that's going to get the whole shot down into turn number 1. It is Navarro that leads from Antonelli.
We already have some fallen.
Tatsuki Suzuki, Nicolas Ayer, Philip Ertel and Jules Danilo. This is another incident.
Red flag is out, the race has been stopped.
There's been 2 incidents. This is why the red flag has come out. So the race will get underway over the shortened distance of 12 laps. Second time around here for Moto3 in Brno. It was Jorge Navarro and Danny Kent that got great starts off the front row, as it was in the first running of this race. It's Navarro, the number 9, that's going to lead down into the first corner. Binder though, coming up the inside of Antonelli and Oliveira. Can he make it stick? He can. Brilliant slipstreaming there by Binder. He's back at the front.
Brad Binder leads away for how long? Antonelli up the inside. Fanati round the outside. Antonelli chasing his first podium finish, and Bassanini up the inside.
Antonelli takes his first Grand Prix victory ahead of another second place for Enea Bastianini. Brad Binder back on the podium for only the second time in 2015.
Nicolo Antonelli wins his very first Grand Prix in Moto3. Round 11, Moto2 World Championship. Zarco, Rabat and Rins on that front row.
Excellent start from the middle of the front row by the world champion Tito Rabat. He's already got ahead of Johan Zarco on the run down to the first corner. Luthi sweeps around the outside of Zarco into second place.
Luthi up the inside on the brakes, and Tom Luthi, the Swiss rider, leads the way into turns 4. Here comes Zarco on the inside on the brakes on Luthi. Classic overtaking manoeuvre here at Brno. Rins trying to get up the inside of Tom Luthi, and I don't think there's anything Tom Luthi can do.
Alex Marquez now at the inside of Luthi. A bit of a mistake on the brakes from the Swiss.
4th win of the season.
Brilliant performance by Johan Zarco, a 4th win of 2015, ahead of the world champion Tito Rabat and Alex Rins.
Here we go, backflip coming up.
The flying Frenchman, Johan Zarco.
Superb. A very good afternoon to you from Brno in the Czech Republic. Round 11 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Jorge Lorenzo got a brilliant launch off the line from pole position. There he is on the outside of the track, the number 99. Bradley Smith away really well as well on the number 38. Lorenzo leads the way. Marquez takes second place. Bradley Smith up into third. Valentino Rossi's already lost 2 places.
Marquez and Lorenzo at the front. Can Rossi make a move here?
He's up the inside of Dovizioso at 14. Rossi finally into third, but he's taken far too long to get into that third place.
It's Indy all over again. It's going to be a great fight between Lorenzo and Marquez.
Andrea Iannone now has moved up into 4th place ahead of Andrea Dovizioso. Cal
Crutchlow out at turn 11.
Maverick Vinales.
Maverick Vinales is now gone, so Vinales has crashed out.
Dovizioso trying to fight back way into 5th place by Pedrosa.
And here comes Dovizioso once again. Dovizioso fights back. Pedrosa gets up the inside, side by side.
Here is the race leader.
Grand Prix victory number 5 of the season for Jorge Lorenzo, and he takes over the lead in the World Championship.
The lonely second place for Marc Marquez. Rossi takes the final spot on the podium, and Danny Pedrosa won that great battle for 5th place ahead of Andrea Dovizioso.
Lorenzo now leads the World Championship, equal on points with Valentino Rossi, but he has won more Grand Prix.
Well, we have two classes with quite a big points margin, but the MotoGP class is now very, very tight. And the person talking us through it is Christian Gavarini. Christian, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you to you.
Christian, obviously people who may not know Christian is the crew chief for Jack Miller, the young Australian rookie we have in MotoGP at the moment, but he was also crew chief of Casey Stoner, a certain famous rider who you might know. But the people we want to talk about now are, well, some of Casey's ex-rivals. First of all, the top three, Christian. It wasn't the most exciting race here in Brno, but obviously Jorge, very, very fast. Marc there as well, and Valentino. What do you make of this for the championship? What does this tell us going forward? Does this now mean Jorge is going to run away with it?
But in some way I agree with what Valentino said a few weeks ago, that probably they keep going fighting until the end of the championship, because as usual there is some track that is more easy for Yamaha, some track is more easy for Honda, and in the other side also we are speaking about top rider, and top rider are fast in every circuit, but anyway they are human, and there is some circuit in which they can use something special to make the difference. So I agree with Valentino that probably we will keep seeing something like this until the end.
But I think lots of people, you know, from the outside point of view, we look at the tyres, and I think many people will go, oh yeah, but Jorge had the medium front, medium rear. He made the right choice. Marc had the medium front, hard rear. Valentino, hard. And because they finished in that order, it's kind of easy to think, right, well, it was because of the tyres. But I don't think that's the case, is it?
For me, it's very difficult to say something like this, because we are judging the combination of tire and bikes, and different tire in different bikes with different riding style. So for sure we are speaking, again I tell you, about the top 3 of the 4 rider, and for sure they will choose the best tire for them. So probably the combination of hard tire in Yamaha is the top, and the combination with the soft tire in Honda is the top for Marc riding style or Jorge riding style. It's really difficult to understand. Sometimes it's difficult also to choose, but for his own rider. So I think these 3 guys, it's difficult that they make some big mistake.
Okay. Moving on to Ducati, you yourself have experience with Ducati from the past. How impressed are you with their progress, or are you a bit concerned that they seem to have reached a bit of a stop, a bit of a, they don't seem to be quite as strong as they were in Qatar? Obviously bringing upgrades, Dovi riding this new slimmer fairing, Iannone sticking with the original style.
We have not to forget, for first, that Ducati bringing this season a completely new bike. So it's difficult to say that they stop the development or they choose a wrong way, because at the end this is a part of the way, you know. If you choose something, sometimes these make a big difference, and you can immediately see. Other things make smaller difference, but you can see race by race. So I think they are improving anyway. The riders are doing for sure a good job. Here probably was easier for them to show the potential. In other circuit maybe they suffer more, but we are not also to forget, it's through the last race in Indy, Iannone arrived 22nd from the top, if I remember well, but anyway he finished 4th, if I remember well. So for me it's not correct to say they stopped their development or they took a wrong way. There are many different timing in which sometimes you have a faster progression and sometimes is slower, but their trend for me is positive, very positive.
Moving on from bike progression to rider progression.
Yes.
You yourself have a rookie with Jack. He finished the race today, obviously Indy. He didn't, unfortunately crashed out. How do you compare his progress and, in terms of working with him? when you look at other riders, for instance, like Maverick Vinales, I know he's on a factory bike. Jack is on an open machine. Then you've got the likes of Loris Baz, Eugene Laverty. Obviously, very lucky we saw in the race Jack managed to avoid this nasty high side that Eugene had. But in terms of that progression of the rookies,
I don't know very well about Maverick, but for sure he's doing an unbelievable job. His progression is impressive. To be honest, I expected something like this because what I heard regarding Maverick also last year in Moto2 was very positive. In the other side, 1 year in Moto2 for sure helped. And here I know that many people think the jump between Moto3 straight away to MotoGP is too big and blah blah blah. I think that Jack did the right choice because he has enough talent to do it. Of course, he needs a lot more time compared to Maverick because he jumped the Moto2 class that is something in the middle, at least regarding the weight of the bike. In the other side, he is riding is not so easy bike because we know very well that Honda perform at the top, but sometimes it's difficult to push Honda to the top. And he is using an open machine compared a factory machine. There are many factors altogether. His progression is quite good. Sometimes, like I said for Ducati, sometimes you can easily see, for example, Indianapolis was the best weekend we did from the beginning of the season. He finished in the wrong way because he crashed, but his progression was really good session by session and day by day. Here we struggle more. The condition was different, we suffer more the low level of the grip during the race, and so that's normal.
Okay, well, Christian, thank you very much for all those insights there, and of course for your time.
Thank you to you.
And now we're going to leave you guys. Obviously not that much overtaking here. Well, I think with Dani Pedrosa and the Ducatis we did, so we're going to show you some of the best images we have from the weekend.
Round 11 of the MotoGP World Championship. A massive crowd about to be entertained here in the sunshine.
Pedrosa up the inside of Dovizioso.
Here comes Dovizioso once again. Dovizioso fights back. Pedrosa gets up the inside, side by side. Grand Prix victory number 5 of the season for Jorge Lorenzo. And he takes over the lead in the World Championship.